For as long as I can remember, they've been telling us to enjoy it while they're young, but our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy it? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time to make shift happen. You can be a happy mom. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits, and I've risen. I've grown. I've bloomed. And it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not a burden. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm. And so are you. Come with me. Let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown. Accept your responsibility. Change the effing world together. It's all in the way we choose to see it. I'm so glad you're here, friend. You're listening to Meant to Bloom with Brittany Clarkson. Hey, friend. Welcome back to Meant to Bloom. It's me, your friend, Brittany. Today I want to chat about something that might upset a lot of people. We're going to talk about a very triggering phrase, and that is, ah, you know, when you're really getting worked up, uh, you're really just in a rage over something that might be kind of minor, or you're really worked up over an inconvenience, or you're just flying into a panic attack over nothing. Like you're literally just dealing with anxiety and you are just blinded to everything happening around you. And then all of a sudden, someone you usually love and care about deeply, they just say, why don't you just calm down? Just calm down. It's the most annoying phrase in the world, and it always comes at the worst time, correct? But this is what might be super triggering to anyone listening because, oh my goodness, I triggered myself when I came up with this idea. Like when I said this to myself, it was self-triggering. Um, but I mean, I've struggled with anxiety for most of my life. And I have heard in so many occasions, you just need to calm down. And I understand the white hot rage and that desire to throat punch this person for having said that to you. But, hun, what if we really did just calm down? Like, I know you want to check out right now, but hold on. Listen to me. Really, we're here for growth. We're here for personal development. And there's no personal development in hanging on to that rage and that anxiety when someone is trying to help. Yeah, it doesn't feel helpful in the moment for them to say just calm down because it's like, "Oh, really? I would if I could." But actually, you can. It's called self-regulation. And we talk about it here all the time. When your kids are annoying you, what do I say? Step outside, take a deep breath, and reflect on why you love them. That's just calming down. That is self-regulation. We talk about how in the moment, when your kid's throwing this major temper tantrum, the best thing to do is co-regulation, which means you self-regulate and then you co-regulate. You have to calm down in order to calm them. If we're going to be the calm in the storm for our kids, we kind of do need to take this really stupid advice to just calm down. And I want to chat about that a whole lot today. All right. So today I want to share some of my thoughts on this and my best tips for calming down. So when someone is telling you to calm down, they're just trying to help. First of all, you have to see it as them trying to help. They don't know how else to help when you're, throwing an adult tantrum. That's honestly what it is. And I know you don't want to hear it, but that's how I'm going to tell it to you. I don't know if you can hear my dog. She's being super annoying. She's breathing. It's really annoying. But I'm going to calm down. It's okay. So What if what if we see someone telling us to just calm down? What if instead of flying into that white hot rage, instead of getting angry at them, how dare they suggest we calm down, right? How dare you? It's not that easy. What if we saw this as an opportunity to self regulate? What if we saw this as a chance for growth instead of just digging our feet in and getting more outraged at this sentiment? Because you have to realize this person is trying to help. They really are. And if you realize that everyone's doing the best they can with what they have, give them grace for having said that to you. I think as a society, we need to just not get so triggered by this phrase to just calm down. Because honestly, it is really great advice. And if we saw it for what it is, and we actually took this advice, how would that change the climate of your home? Because remember, you're the one in charge of the energy, mama. As the woman of the house, you are the gatekeeper for the energy. You are the one who decides. You are the one who sets the tone. You know, we know this. We talk about this all the time. So I know how it feels to be told to just calm down when that's the last thing you want to do. Because you are angry, you are anxious, you are upset, and you think it's not so easy to calm down. You're blinded to the situation that's really occurring. You are triggered. You are like in a volatile situation here. And when someone tells you to just calm down, you know what this spikes in you? This awakens your stubbornness and your pride. I know that might be a shocker, right? Or maybe you know that it's awakening your stubbornness and your pride. Maybe you don't want to admit it. That's what I'm here for, to shine a light on these dark areas of ourselves that we don't want to talk about and we don't want to admit exist. But this is how we grow. We notice what's not working, we ditch what's not serving us, and we choose new patterns, new habits, because you get to choose. In this situation, when you are highly triggered, you are anxious, you are angry, whatever it is going on in you, we get to choose whether we're going to be stubborn and prideful and we're going to stick to our guns and say, no, I'm right and I'm in control of this situation, and we're going to be completely out of control at that moment. Or we get to choose, I'm in control of this situation, I'm in control of myself. I control my nervous system. I can calm down and I can approach this differently. Because that anxiety and that rage are not going to help you make clear decisions. The stubbornness and the pride, they are going to cloud your judgment, and they're going to make you convince yourself that you are right without looking at any facts or details. And this is when we get ourselves into situations that we later regret. This is when we end up saying things that we regret. And then we blame it on PMS or something because we don't want to admit that we made the wrong choice. Right? I know you don't want to hear this, but taking that stupid advice to just calm down might be the best thing for you to do in that moment. You don't have to stop being upset, and you don't have to immediately admit that you're wrong. And you don't have to forget about what triggered you in the first place. But approaching it from peace and calm, that's going to be your best bet at getting through it. Okay? When we calm down, it allows us to make rational and sane decisions. And we know making decisions is not always the easiest thing to do because we make thousands and thousands of them every day and we get really sick and tired of it. And I get it. But making them from a place of calm, making them from a place of love, that's going to change things. That's going to help you in the end to let go of the stubbornness and the pride and just be okay with it. Okay? It's going to help you avoid making decisions that you're going to regret later. Avoid saying something stupid, something rude, something mean, something that was not loving. Okay? Now, I kind of want to sidetrack a minute and tell you this little bit of a story of what happened last week. And it was an eye opener to the amount of growth I've had, but also an eye opener to the amount of stubbornness and pride that I still have in my life. Okay, last week, my husband, I told you guys all about this on Instagram. But my husband locked my car because the trunk was locked when he went to get a package out of the trunk. So he thought I wanted the whole car locked. So he locked the car. And then he went to work with my spare key in his pocket because he had no idea that I had left my keys in the car so that it was one less thing to worry about in the morning. I already had everything packed in my car. We live out in the country in like we're fenced and gated, and I can leave my cars unlocked and no one's going to get in them because, 3 German Shepherd dogs and a quarter-mile driveway with a locking gate, like, no one's gonna mess with my stuff. We can leave it unlocked. We are blessed to live in an area like that where we do not have to lock our doors at night. So it gets really annoying when my doors get locked. And so my husband went to work with my keys or with the spare key, and my key is locked in my car. So I could not drive my kid to school. And I had to end up taking his truck, which this was a whole deal because I always said I never wanted to drive his truck. I had to move it in the parking lot or in our driveway one time, and I felt very vulnerable and panicky. I was like going into an anxiety attack over it because it's way bigger than what I'm used to driving. So if you're used to driving like a midsize SUV and then you go into a super duty 350 lifted, whew, it's like driving a bus. I don't want to do it. It's way too big. That's what she said. Um, but anyways, so I had to take that to get my kid to school. And I was stressing out most of the time, driving really slow. And there was even a time after I dropped all my kids off that it was just me in the truck. And I had this small voice in the back of my head that's, those nasty, intrusive thoughts that come in. It's like, you should just drive it off the bridge, show him, like just total the truck and kill yourself. It's a great idea. Of course, I didn't do that because it's stupid. That would be a really dumb thing to do because it's not that big of a deal. And what I had to do was let go of my stubbornness and pride that were, digging their heels in and telling me, no, you should, don't do a good job. Don't be good at driving. You should just have an anxiety attack, like always. And then there was another part of me that's saying, you can do anything, right? You are capable of keeping calm. You are capable of driving this. You do not have to be shallow and petty. Because there was another part of me that wanted to take all my husband's keys and go throw them in the river, just to, get back at him. Because I do have that petty streak in me. But obviously, I didn't do that. I'm still married. Um, I chose love, not violence. But it was really interesting to see these parts of me making these decisions and weighing in on an old version of you would have gone ahead and had the panic attack. An old version of you would have kept your kid home and not driven him to school because she would have been so stubborn to not even try to drive the truck. But here you are, stepping up, controlling your nervous system and staying calm, and driving this truck to get this kid to school, even though it's not the solution you wanted. And I dealt with a lot of like back and forth anxiety and, realizations all day long because of this situation, which in 5 years, I'm going to look back and be like, it wasn't that bad. But there's a part of me that didn't want it to not be that bad. There was a stubborn part of me that wanted it to be the worst day of my life because I wanted to stick by my guns that had said, I'm not good at driving your truck. I don't ever want to drive your truck. I can't do it. Part of me wanted to stick by that and to believe that. But now I can't believe it. Now I have to accept the fact that I can remain calm because I am in control of myself. And I can drive the truck that I thought I couldn't. It's really tough to admit you are wrong, even when it means growth. So I'm right there with you. If you're, overcoming anxiety and it feels weird to not be anxious about things, and it makes you angry that you're not anxious, and it just gives you all these conflicting feelings, I get it. I'm there with you. I understand that it's not always so easy. There's a lot of emotions that come into this, a lot of back and forth feelings. I get it, but you are in control of yourself. You get to decide. You get to decide how you're going to respond to these situations. You can stay mad. You can be petty. You can be stubborn and prideful, but that's your choice. You're choosing that. And just because that's what you've always chosen in the past, that doesn't mean that's what you have to choose now. You get to change. You get to grow. You get to choose calm and peace and love. And yeah, it's really weird when you start making these changes and you start seeing, wow, that's not the response I normally would have. And it feels really uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. It's so, so good, but it's uncomfortable when it's happening. But once you're on the other side, you're going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was that person. I can't believe I let these tiny things be such a big deal. I can't believe I overreacted that way. But when you're going through the change, it can be tough. It can be rough. I mean, I'm years into making these changes in my life, and I'm still facing up, you know, facing my inner demons and whatever. There's still always room to grow. So, I want to share with you how I calm down. And it has been my challenge lately that if someone tells me to just calm down, that I do it instead of holding on to the pride of how dare you say that? What if we set aside the pride, we set aside the stubbornness, and we said, yeah, okay, give me a minute to go calm down instead of holding on to that white hot rage, right? So, how I calm down, I always start with a deep breath. It is so regulatory, it is so good for you. Deep breath. Even if it's just one big and out. All right, you can go into a whole breathing sequence. There's a lot of different visualized breathings. There's box breathing, the, what is it, 4-7-8 breathing. There's just 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. You could do like breath work kind of breathing with your abdomen, and there's so many different ways to breathe that can help you. And I totally suggest you finding something that works really, really well for you that you don't have to think about. You can just be like, oh, time to breathe. And, that's how you breathe. All right. And then remove myself from the situation if you can. Remove yourself if needed or possible. Go ahead and step into another room, step outside. Bonus points if you just go outside barefoot and do a little bit of grounding at the time. Feel the sunshine and the fresh air. Or if, you're in the Northwest like me, then go out in the rain and the mud. It's good for you. The rain and mud is good for you. Okay, go take a shower. Go splash some water on your face. Change your location. It's a really good way, to change your physiological responses, is to just step out of the room and go somewhere else, go do something else. Um, do you need to move through what's happening? Do you need to go like jump on a trampoline or go for a quick jog? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to just do a little bit of light stretching, some yoga kind of stuff to open you up? Sometimes this is just a lot of energy that needs to move through you. Okay, it's the same thing with your kids, right? How often are your kids getting super wound up and crazy and you're just like, hey, why don't you go outside and play? And problem solved, right? They go out and jump on the trampoline, ride their bike or whatever. They go run around, problem solved. Your kid goes outside and plays in the dirt and the mud, problem solved. It's the same for you. All right, getting out there in the dirt and the fresh air, getting movement in, it's going to help those energies move through you. Okay. And if you need to, go back and listen to episode 3. about how nature can help you heal. All right, that's a lot. It's a lot to do on the same exact topic. I tend to come back to it a lot, but I always forget that that episode exists where I specifically went and chatted with you about the healing powers in nature, how you can get outside and it will help regulate you and overcome your anxieties and, all those kinds of things. Um, Definitely give that a check out. But then, so I breathe, remove myself if I can, or if I need to. Um, and then I like to reflect because it's not going to help you in the long run if you never think about what just happened, right? Because then it's just going to happen again. All right. Stepping out and calming in the moment right now is only helpful for right now. It's not going to help you prevent this situation from happening again and again in the future, right? So, what helps that is by reflecting and questioning yourself on, a dozen different things. Question what just happened? Is this something that's going to matter in 5 years? What's the real trigger here? Was my reaction proportionate? What's really causing me to flip out about this? Is there a deeper rooted problem? Am I not taking care of myself? Am I telling myself untrue stories again? Am I allowing myself to spiral over something small because I'm telling myself that that something small means something important about me? Is this really a big deal? What's my next best move? How can I approach this situation with love? Do I need to apologize to someone? Do I need to forgive someone? Is that someone me? Would journaling help me through this? Do I need to move through this to work out or walk it out? Do I need to just move on to the next thing? Is this something that I need to just forget about and just move on? Am I giving myself grace in this situation? Or am I allowing guilt to grow? Am I giving others grace? When we do all these things and question all these things, we can start to calm ourselves in the situation. There's so many different ways you can calm yourselves. There's ways you can prevent yourself from getting so high strung that you are, in a state of anxiety. And I will link a couple of other really great episodes here. Um, let's see, there was an episode I did with Elizabeth from Emotionally Healthy Legacy where she talks about how to calm down. Um, she's a stress coach for moms and she's amazing. And I will link her in the show notes to this. Um, and then also there's an episode I did with Sarah Miller of the Self Care Life. Um, she she talks a lot about self care to prevent anxiety, like not just self care in the moment for anxiety, but to prevent it, so that you're caring for yourself and you're showing up from a place that's not, your cup's not empty when you're showing up. You have resources, you have bandwidth to deal with what's happening in life because life happens, right? So if you're caring for yourself, if you're questioning what you're doing, being mindful, paying attention to life around you, it's going to be a lot easier to overcome the anxiety of the moment. And if you let go of that stubbornness and that pride, and that's not easy, that is so much more easily said than done. But if you let go of that and you do accept the advice to just calm down, this could be life changing. Life changing to just calm down in the moment. All right. So, peace, love, and joy, my friend. That's what I had to share with you today. Let's stop being triggered by the phrase just calm down. Let's instead just calm down, right? I know it's so much more easily said than done, but friend, you're probably going to hear that a lot going into this holiday season. Holidays are rough. You're surrounded by people who don't normally spend a whole ton of time with you, but they think that, they know you and they love you because they're family or they're very close friends. And you get a bunch of people in a room together and you're in charge of all the hosting, and stress gets really high this time of year. And I want you to have permission to not be stressed. And when you do get stressed and someone inevitably says, maybe you should just calm down, I want you to take a deep breath, bite your tongue, and actually take the time to calm down. Because you know what? Every time someone says, just calm down, you kind of see this like fear in their eyes that they know they just unleashed a monster. So, can you imagine their face when they say, just calm down and immediately regret it? And you look them square in the eye and say, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to go take care of myself. Give me 5 minutes. How would that change the entire environment of every social gathering this holiday season? I don't know. Maybe other people don't have huge family arguments and stuff that happen. I don't know. Maybe you don't get stressed about holiday stuff about family gatherings. Maybe that's just a special kind of person. But I think I'm not alone. I think I think more families are like sitcoms than we think, with the interesting family structures. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyways, happy holiday season. Stay calm, my friend. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Meant to Bloom. It really does mean the world to me. But are you ready to take this a step farther? Check out the description below of this episode and grab your mindset makeover. It's totally free, my gift to you. Then hop on Instagram and let me know what you thought of this episode. Tag me at Britt Clarkson. That's BritClarkson. If any part of this resonated with you, please let me know by tagging me or leave a review and share on social media so other mamas can find this too. If it helped you, it's going to help someone else. You're part of a movement now. Let's go.